Well, welcome everybody. Today, Nate and I are sitting down with one of our awesome first-time home buyers, Lauren Talley. And she is going to share with us the journey that she had. It's truly an inspirational one. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
And I've known your family for a long, long time. And, it's really extra special when you can help people that are special to you. And now I know a lot about you, but can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure. So I am a single mom. I'm 31. I have three beautiful children of all ages. I have a 15, a 9, and a 3-year-old. So we have lots of busy fun. The kids are all super involved in all of their stuff, and I work in insurance, and we go day by day, trucking
That's
through.
No,
awesome.
that
It's
is
kind of
true. That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, like I've always, like I just told you, I think the toughest job that someone has is being a mom, and that's amazing to be able to do what you do.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
you truly do deserve the most utmost respect. I mean, you've been doing this all single, and if we're not mistaken, prior to you being a homeowner, or really when we first met, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were renting, correct?
I was renting. Yes, I've always rented. I've always rented.
And so at the time, what kind of drove you to renting a home rather than owning it?
So I think it was more out of necessity. I was young and needed a place to stay and had always rented apartments. And it was more of since I was so young and not as established, wasn't sure that I wanted to make the commitment to owning a home.
And that's completely understandable. I mean, in an ever-changing market, there's never a great time. There's only just great planning. And so, we're super fortunate enough to be able to be a part of that. And so thank you for sharing kind of the background of what made you begin your journey of home ownership.
Yeah,
Right. In hindsight, I wish I would have bought earlier, honestly.
yeah, I bet. And we actually tried to get you a rental, a home, because you were in an apartment at the time, right?
Right.
And we started doing that, but the area that you were interested in, it seemed that the rentals just were not available. And that was somewhat
Yeah.
of a challenge, wasn't that?
It was a timing issue. It was
Hmm.
definitely a timing issue. They were just getting scooped up so fast, and I knew the area that I wanted to be in, and so yeah, that was a whole different thing. We needed to make some things happen at that time. And even I had called you and was like, we're just gonna put a pause on this. It wasn't working out. I either didn't like the houses or it wasn't where I needed it to be. It wasn't when I needed it to be. And honestly, it didn't work out. And we wanted to go back to the beginning of the school year too, when we kind of picked things back up.
No, and
Yeah,
that's
so
truly
that's good.
understandable. And,
Hmm.
thank you for also sharing that. But, time went by, kids are growing up. I mean, especially with you having three beautiful children, which we're super thrilled to see them so happy now in their home. But, your lease came up to an end. And so let me ask you, what kind of made you want to say, you know what, now it's time to go back on the market, buy this dream home, and really put my family in our forever home or just your stepping stone house?
Right. So I had been renting and my family had just outgrown where we were living. So I knew I wanted to be somewhere else and just had always rented. So that's just kind of what I knew and wasn't sure of the possibilities of me even being able to buy a home. And so I had sat down with my mom's husband and just kind of played with numbers and was like, what do you think if I wanted to actually make a little bit more of a commitment and buy a home? My kids are growing up. I wanted to have the stability and security in our lives. And so I just, one day there was online, you can go and see if you would be pre approved, and just went online, filled out one of those applications, and saw the numbers that I would be approved for. And I didn't even think I was going to get approved in the first place.
Wow.
The numbers that came back too were not unreasonable for my budget either. I knew what I was looking at. I just have my finances to work with. And as y'all probably figured out, I'm pretty on my stuff. So once I found that out, I believe that we had contacted Ruben and just said that we I really feel like buying would be kind of more of something I wanted to shift into. I was ready to move. I wanted to be in a place. And so um, we started looking. We started looking. And we talked to somebody about getting an actual pre-approval letter and really started looking.
Yeah, so I like there's two things I want to really point out there. First of all, is you were wondering if you were qualified. You didn't think you could, but you at least took that effort to find out if you could. So most people are stuck, right, especially right now, think that I can't qualify. So that stops them right
Right.
there. They don't even go to the next step to see, can I qualify? And second of all, you said the word commitment. And that I love because you now were willing to make that commitment after you did step one, which is to find out if you even qualified. And then lo and behold, you were able to qualify. So what you
Yeah.
must have felt amazing when you saw that.
Well, and I think it was just such an unexpected surprise because I knew that I wanted to move in that direction and just needed to see if that was even a possibility. And once that became a possibility, it just kind of took on a whole nother thing of its own, and the ball had started rolling. I found my house, and I think it had been on the market for only maybe 2 days. And I did. I was like, I want to look at this house right now. I don't want anybody else to look
Yeah.
at it. I talked to Nate and I was like, I want to look at this house right now. And he said, how's 7 o'clock tonight? I said, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
And we
And
sure did.
and it was a thrill meeting you there. I mean, I remember you guys pulled up. I actually think you had just gone out of work. You had either one of your daughters had just got done also with what is it, ballet or dance practice?
Dance practice. Yeah, she was in
Dance.
dance.
But you walked into the home and you just had this feeling of like, this might be it. This might be the place where I can truly, put my kids in and grow our family. And so we were super thrilled to have you alongside I mean, be alongside you every single step of the way. But, kind of like Ruben mentioned, a lot of the times people just don't know where to begin or they have that fear. And it's normal. I mean, you can't really predict how real estate's going to happen. But what you can kind of expect is some challenges to arise along the way. So when those challenges or really those tough moments, whether that's maybe inspection, whether that's maybe just negotiating, what would you say, what would you give credit to that allowed you to kind of have that level-headed mind and be like, you know what? Yes, this is something that came unexpectedly, but we're going to be able to get through this no matter what.
Well, I definitely think that there's no risk, no reward. And so if you're not even going to put yourself out there, you're going to miss all the shots you don't take. And so once you take that first step and you find out that this is a real possibility for yourself, you take the bull by the horns and you run with it. I would say I was I am a very nice person, but probably was not the easiest to work through during some of this time. And I can't commend y'all enough on how professionally y'all handled everything. I mean, there was times that we thought the deal was going to fall through.
Yeah,
And
that is
I
very
was
true.
like, Nate, we need to figure something out right now.
Hmm.
And you did. You did every time. And so y'all were absolutely wonderful. The negotiations was probably one of the harder parts for me. Definitely, there's lots of paperwork involved. So you have to be willing and ready to sign your name a bunch of times. But yeah, once that was all, I had an amazing team behind me. And so once we got to that finish line, I was ready to roll by then.
Yeah, real estate isn't just rainbows and unicorns. So
I
it
have
is
a difficult
definitely
job.
it's definitely a process and that's the thing. And you hung in there too because I know it got wonky a couple of times and there was stuff that was tough. But in the end, I think we wound up with such a great deal for you and everything just kind of fell into place and working things through it. And yeah, so that's the idea of having realtors there by your side to do that. Now, the other thing that you did is you took advantage of a first-time buyers program that they had.
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
I did. So I had known that I wanted to be buying for a while. So I had, by the time that we actually ended up rolling down the process, so I had some money saved. I knew that we were going to be putting it towards this, but I didn't have quite as much as I wanted to put forth. in order to make this happen. And so the loan program that I got was very, very helpful. It got my foot in the door. That's only being paid off through the next 3 years. So once that 3 years is up, I mean, that loan closes and we continue moving on. But, you know, in order to make it happen for this house, I knew this is what I wanted. I knew it was where I wanted it, how I wanted it. And without that first time home buyers program, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. And it was very, very helpful and absolutely worth it.
Oh, that's
No,
great.
and thank you so much for sharing that because you're absolutely right. The first time home buyers program is designed to assist you, not to hinder you. And a lot of the times we just get so focused on the interest rate or we get focused on, oh, well, what if I don't qualify? That we just, it's kind of like we hold ourselves back. We're our own worst enemy. But like you just said head first, you took the bull by the horns, and now you are a homeowner, which congratulations. You've been in your house for over a year now. And I know you've been
It'll be a
loving.
year on the 20th.
There we go. So it's
Yeah.
That's
super coming
awesome.
up.
Almost,
We're super
yeah.
thrilled.
I'm
But
excited.
what I want to focus now is the beauty of homeownership. So be honest. What do you love about your neighborhood?
I love everything about my neighborhood. We live next to a huge park that has a dog park and tennis courts and food courts or food trucks. And, you know, they have a farmer's market on the weekends.
Oh,
And I
nice.
mean, we just absolutely love everything about our neighborhood. I have neighbors across the street who have just been fantastic in our lives. I love everything about my house. I love where it's located. I like where the garage is, the layout of my house. I love the backyard. I love everything about it.
And the kids, how are they enjoying their school?
The girls are loving having their own rooms. Y'all saw the video. And yeah, the schools over here are just absolutely fantastic. My son started this year for the first time, and I've got to say, the schools are just phenomenal.
That's
No,
awesome. Yeah, I
and
just wanted to share with you that the other day someone had asked me, why do I do real estate? And I explained to him the video that we have of your daughters when you told them, because you surprised them. This was really
Did.
cool. You surprised them. We walked into the house and you're just showing them around and they really don't know what's going on. And then finally you say, well, this is ours. And they just look at you in shock and then and said, oh, and do we get our own room? And you're like, yeah, and they start jumping up and down. To me and to Nate, when we see that, there's really no other feeling on the planet when you see that. It's just absolutely amazing to see the happiness that they had. And it was right from the heart. So it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't tell them because I didn't want, if anything didn't go through or something happened, didn't work out the way we needed it, I didn't want them to be disappointed. So I did. I kept it a secret from them and didn't tell them. They just thought that we were coming to look at the house. I'd kind of told them, they knew that I was looking to move and whatnot. And so yeah, I brought them in and told them that they they had their own rooms and these were it.
yeah.
So,
And the
um,
joy that they felt was so genuine, just seeing them smile. I mean, I remember seeing the two little girls grabbing each other like, we have our own rooms and
yeah,
we're gonna have our own space and it's
spend a
it's our
lot of time in it
home.
too.
And that's
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, you guys have made it truly a home. And something about us that we love to do is always staying in contact with our family, because that's what you are to us, your family. And through social media, we've seen you guys celebrate Christmas. I mean, we saw the beautiful decorations you set up, and truly it makes that home feel like that comfort zone that you can go to after a long day of work. But one thing that our broker always says, which is an amazing leader, is that at the end of the day, we're all putting in the effort. There's only one person that can control the outcome, and that's God. And so we recently heard that you've joined a church actually since moving. And so you don't mind us asking, how have you been with that church? How's everything been going?
yeah. So the neighbors that are across the street, I was looking for a new youth program to put my oldest daughter into. You can't do it without God. So I had asked them if they had handed out cookies one day saying that they were hosting one of their church groups. And I was like, well, y'all seem to really love your church. Do they have a youth program? And so I had just taken my daughter there one time and she fell in love with their youth program and we all went on Sunday and we go every Sunday now and we absolutely Love this church. It is fantastic. I've always gone to a bigger church. The church that I have always gone to my whole life started out very small and then grew to a very massive church. And
Mhm.
so this is a very down home type of church, something good for our family. It's right down the street. We have a new library and senior citizens place that's opening up soon. So yeah, everything about this area, I knew that when I walked in here that this was what I wanted and what we needed, and it has been just that.
Amen.
Yeah, so if someone's listening right now and they're renting and they're sitting on the fence and wondering, can I do it? What would your advice be to them?
My advice is that you can absolutely do it. You can absolutely do it. You need to make the commitment, make the decision for yourself, and move forward from there, all speed ahead. I think that owning my home has been the greatest thing. I have one of the greatest things that I've done with my life because I needed that security in that home. And this house has absolutely become a home for us. And it has taken a lot of effort to pour every ounce of love that we have into it. But it's absolutely worth it. It is 100% worth it. I would tell you to do it yesterday.
That's
No, and
awesome.
that's truly is fantastic. And honestly, it's very touching because you're kind of saying that having that home has really changed your life, correct?
It has.
And
It
so
absolutely has.
how would you compare your life now to compared when you were renting?
It's mine. You know, I come home and it's mine. I look around and it is my stuff on the walls and my home. And when I was renting, I always knew it would be temporary. I always knew that, you know, one day we weren't going to be here anymore.
Mhm.
And that is just not the case here. I know that in 10 years, it is going to be just as much mine as it is today, and if not more than it is today, you know? And so I if you are looking to make the commitment to settle down in an area, you know what you want, go for it.
No,
That's
thank you for
beautiful.
sharing that. That's very encouraging.
Absolutely. So I think you've already talked about what your house means to you. So clearly it's something that's super important to you, but it's made such a big difference in you. And I can see just your energy, which you've always had great energy, but now you
Mhm.
got, I don't know, there's a glow to you. And it's beautiful to see what you've been able to do and how it did change your life. I think that's really the key here for a lot of people to understand is that home ownership can help you become even, go in a direction that's really great. And you really are inspirational in that you've been able to do that and really better yourself for doing that.
Right. Well, and it is a huge commitment, and it is something that, you know, you should do as a favor to yourself. And it may be hard to kind of get through the process, but believe me, on the other side, it is worth unlocking, putting that key in that door, unlocking, walking into your home and having it be yours.
No, that's fantastic. So let me ask you one more thing. Now that you've already into your home, you've made it your own, you're about to celebrate 1 year, which is fantastic. What's up next for you in your home? Do you have plans to maybe start personalizing it a little bit more? Or have you just been in boasting and enjoying the beautiful patio that you have in the back? Because I remember that was something that the porch in the back was something that was very amazing. I mean, your kids could play around. They could, they were just excited to have space. And that's something that a lot of people that are renting don't realize but that they don't have until they get a home.
Right. Well, and being in an apartment versus being in a house. If you've lived in apartments and you've lived in a house, you know, it's just an absolute world of a difference. And the backyard was a selling point for me. It definitely
Mhm.
was one of the big kind of selling points for me on the house. I loved it. Just renting and having the difference between going home to somewhere else, having something be temporary, not knowing towards moving into yours,
Mhm.
just yours, everything that you need, walking in, having it.
No, that's fantastic. Well, truly, we appreciate the fact that you're taking time to share your story because it's an impactful one. A single mother, mother of three, going against all odds, not caring about what the media is saying, because as we all know, if it bleeds, it leads. But you were caring about what your family needed, and that was a place to call home. And I mean, you deserve every single praise for it. I mean, truly, like you said, nothing can be done without God, but look at you now, the amazing woman that now has set example for her daughters who are going to be growing up to be independent soon, her son, who's also going to eventually get his own home. But really, you're setting an example for future generations that feel like, no, it's external factors that are affecting me. No, if you just put the drive into it, you have that burning desire to get success, you can complete it. And so, what would you also say, Ruben?
Yes, I'd say the same thing. It's really, Lauren, we're so thrilled for you, and we're thrilled that we were part of that journey. You've done an amazing job, so congratulations for doing it. You took the bull by the horns, and you really did it. And so we just happened to be in that journey. So we thank you for being part of that journey.
Well, I really couldn't have done it without y'all. Y'all were fantastic from start to finish, very patient, very professional, very timely. It was, I know I put some work on you guys. So thank you for everything because it has definitely paid off.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us. Friends, this is Lauren Talley. She did an amazing job. We're so thrilled to have her with us. Thanks again, Lauren.
Yes, thank you.